Xi Jinping's rise to power and the fight against corruption. Welcome to a deep dive into the life of Xi Jinping, China's enigmatic leader who has successfully navigated the complexities of a corrupt political landscape to rise to the top. In this video, we'll explore Xi's early life, his steady climb through the ranks of the Chinese Communist Party, and his relentless fight against corruption. Despite the many challenges and mysteries surrounding his career, Xi Jinping has managed to position himself as a powerful and decisive leader in the world's most populous country. In 2012, Xi Jinping emerged as China's leader after a mysterious 14-day disappearance. Born in 1953 in Beijing, Xi experienced a privileged childhood until the Cultural Revolution led to his family's downfall. At 14, he was sent to a rural village where he learned hard labor and eventually made a positive impact. After Mao Zedong's death in 1976, Xi and other princelings re-entered the political elite. Xi pursued a chemical engineering degree and gained military credentials before returning to rural China as deputy party secretary. He then rose through the ranks to become China's leader. Xi's life story provides insight into the man leading the world's most populous country. During a strategic shift within the Communist Party, Xi positioned himself for leadership as the party adopted socialism with Chinese characteristics, resulting in economic growth and increased international trade. He worked his way up in Fujian province's local government, maintaining a low profile amid widespread corruption. One notable figure in Fujian was Lai Changxing, who ran a massive smuggling empire and controlled the port system through bribes. Despite his illegal activities, Lai became a local hero until the Chinese government cracked down on his empire. He fled to Hong Kong and Canada before being extradited and sentenced to life in prison. Although corruption was rampant, and Xi was likely aware of the situation, his political career remained unscathed, and he was chosen to combat corruption in China. The official history of Xi Jinping does not mention any ties to corrupt business practices, and China does not want to tarnish their leader's image. However, in 2012, Bloomberg News reported that Xi's family owned hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate and other business assets, and a Chinese billionaire claimed to have helped the family dump some assets before being sentenced to 13 years in prison for bribery and corruption. Xi Jinping's wealth remains a mystery, and many questions remain about his role in China's corruption. He has focused on political power and positioned himself as the anti-corruption leader the Communist Party can count on. This has served him well, as he has risen through the ranks and avoided scandals, even as China has struggled under previous leaders. Despite styling himself as a reserved and diligent servant to the party, Xi Jinping has quietly planned to adopt a more aggressive stance. As China continues to grapple with corruption and dissent, his focus on maintaining power and managing dissent has become increasingly critical. Xi Jinping came to power and consolidated his control over the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. He teamed up with Wang Lijun, a police chief, to purge criminal organizations from the city. However, it was revealed that he and his wife were involved in corruption and murder, causing a massive setback for the Chinese government. The party decided to appoint a stronger leader to tackle corruption, and Xi Jinping emerged as the top contender. During his rise to power, Xi Jinping focused on rooting out corruption at all levels of the government. He implemented an 8-point code to regulate political behavior and crack down on high-ranking officials involved in corruption. He replaced those removed from power with his own allies, strengthening his control over the CCP. Xi Jinping's strategy to maintain the CCP's rule was influenced by the fall of the Soviet Union. He believed that China needed to double down on indoctrination and be prepared to use violence to stop revolutions. As a result, the People's Liberation Army became crucial to the CCP's survival. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, the Chinese Communist Party has become increasingly focused on preserving its power and ensuring its survival, using a combination of indoctrination, violence, and rooting out corruption to maintain control over the Chinese population. The Chinese government, led by Xi Jinping, initiated a ruthless but popular anti-corruption campaign that identified over 4 million corrupt people, improving the lifestyle of average Chinese citizens. However, this caused the wealthy Chinese elite to resent Xi Jinping, so a new version of the communist doctrine was introduced to ensure compliance. To control the flow of information and shape public opinion, a massive censorship operation was set up, involving AI technology to scan every piece of online content. This censorship extended to various topics, including workers' rights and protests. Although the living standard of Chinese citizens has been on the rise, the Chinese government's focus on maintaining social stability and power has led to the repression of individual rights, freedoms, and religious groups. This control extends to the province of Xinjiang, where the Uyghur Muslim minority has been targeted by surveillance, propaganda, and even detention in facilities. Xi Jinping initially seemed to promise a new era of peace, but his focus on social stability at any cost has led to brutal strategies and an unstable cycle of violence and human rights abuses in Xinjiang. Despite the oppression, economic growth remains high, which Xi believes justifies his policies. Globalization has tied American companies to China, leading many Americans to avoid criticizing Xi for fear of consequences. Xi Jinping's influence is vast, as he has absolute control over the Chinese Communist Party and China's 1.4 billion people. He recently warned President Joe Biden about escalating tensions due to Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, reflecting his misunderstanding of the American government's separation of powers. Taiwan's history is complex, and Xi Jinping argues it should be part of China. However, this claim is arbitrary, and Taiwan's independent democracy poses a threat to his vision of a Marxist China. Control over advanced technologies is crucial for this vision, making Taiwan highly important. Despite having the power to invade Taiwan, Xi has not done so due to the island's strong defenses and potential American support. China's leader Xi Jinping has been focusing on building up his military, particularly with regard to defending Taiwan from potential invasions. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has presented both challenges and opportunities for Xi. Initially, he tried to suppress information about the virus, but eventually shifted to a strategy of instilling maximum fear and implementing strict lockdowns and surveillance measures. Although the zero-COVID policy had some success in preventing the spread of the virus, it also led to economic setbacks and increased unemployment. Despite this, many Chinese citizens were willing to sacrifice for the greater good due to the country's overall upward economic trend. While the lockdowns may have been necessary for health reasons, they also allowed Xi to consolidate power. During the 20th National Party Congress in October 2022, he did not step down as per the usual succession plan, indicating his intention to rule indefinitely. Xi Jinping's popularity is difficult to gauge due to censorship, but some citizens expressed disapproval of his decision to continue serving. Information about his life and intentions remains scarce, and it is crucial to support unbiased sources to better understand his actions. The ongoing battle for control over the semiconductor industry between China and the U.S. highlights the importance of understanding China's AI strategy under Xi Jinping's leadership. Thanks for watching our video.